Good morning, everyone, and welcome to AQL Technologies, Becoming an Expert in Implementing Power Platform Center of Excellence Starter Kit. My name is Steve Linker, and I'm an account manager with AQL Technologies, and I'll be getting us started today. A little bit about AQL. We're a Microsoft Gold and ServiceNow Premier Partner. We've been in business for nearly 2 decades. Our clients include federal, state, local government, as well as Fortune 1000s and nonprofits as well. Our comprehensive suite of services covers a range of powerful platforms, including Microsoft 365, .NET, ServiceNow, Power Platform. We have experts working on Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI, taking care of SharePoint implementations and migrations. We have several professionals working on the ServiceNow platform as well. We have an overall strength of 200 employees, 100 plus successful projects delivered, 100 plus satisfied customers and growing, 200 plus expert developers, analysts, and project managers, and we have over 500 trainings over the years. Now, I would like to just go over the webinar rules real quick. So to start with, if you have any questions, just feel free to put them in the chat. We will, if we can't answer them during the webinar, we'll get back to you in 48 hours with those answers. We're going to have 4 sets of polls with 3 questions apiece. If you could answer those to the best of your ability, that would be great. Now I'd like to hand things over to my Microsoft practice lead, Samir Mohammed. Samir.
Hey guys, my name is Samir Mohammed, and I am the Microsoft Practice Lead at AQL Technologies. And welcome to today's webinar. Let's just review the agenda real fast. We're going to cover, so this is a series of 3 webinars. And with this first one, pretty much just doing an overview of the entirety of the COE Starter Kit. And this, the COE Starter Kit is exclusively for the Power Platform. And this is where we cover the value that it brings, what are the different components that comes with it, as well as enhancements, installation, licensing, updates. Along with that, the bigger picture, which is the Power Platform maturity model. So stay tuned. So, and other than that, there are 2 webinars. So with the first one being the overview, the second one, you can see that on my screen, is going to be the second webinar is going to be achieving ROI from your COE, which is pretty much where Aziz and I are going to cover, the different dashboards, how to use them, how to use it for governance, ALM, nurture, and a lot more. And the third webinar is going to be extending the COE Starter Kit, and primarily the reason being that there are limitations. Some organizations might face limitations around this product. And when you have that, we help the clients in enhancing that as well. Along with that, how to regularly update the COE Starter Kit with the new version releases from Microsoft. So with that being said, I think I'm going to get started with AQL's COE Installation as a Service. Before that, Aziz, would you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Aziz Qureshi. I am with the Power Platform technical lead for about at least 8 years. I am specializing right now on COE and its maintenance and its upgrades. Thank you.
Thank you. So installing the COE Starter Kit is a little tedious process. So we understand the challenges that you already face in managing your clients' needs or showcasing the ROI of Power Platform to your management. And on the top of that, if you have to go ahead and install the COE Starter Kit, and on the top of that, also have to go ahead and apply the regular releases, the new releases that comes with it, it becomes a pretty daunting task. And this is where AQL steps in and helps you install and maintain the COE Starter Kit. And so what you can see on my screen is a COE Starter Kit installation offer from AQL, which is listed in the Microsoft App Store. So feel free to browse it and feel free to let us know if you have, if you're having any kind of issues with installation. Pretty much what we do is that we help deliver, the whole service and, these few different deliverables that you can see on my screen. To start with, we deliver a few workshops and try educating you on what the COE Starter Kit is, and plus the broader picture of what is a COE, Center of Excellence team in itself, and more complicated topics, frameworks like the Power Platform maturity model and stuff like that. The second deliverable is installing the COE Starter Kit itself. The third one is training you. We want to empower you on using it and maintaining it while we're gone. Enhancements is basically if you're feeling limitations with the COE Starter Kit and you want to go ahead and enhance it, we do that for you as well. And then finally, updates. We set up a strategy around updates and help you update and provide regular updates to it, on a regular basis. And finally, if there's any kind of issues, there's always a support that you can reach out to us. So with that being said, let's get started with the webinar itself. So what exactly is the COE Starter Kit? So, the COE Starter Kit basically provides tools and resources you need to establish centralized governance framework. And this is primarily for Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agent. And essentially the Starter Kit, establishes some standards. It helps you maintain some standards within an organization. And it provides predefined components, which you can see on my screen, that can be extended and customized to align with specific, organizational processes and requirements. So in short, it's a starting point for implementing best practices and guidelines for utilizing the Power Platform effectively. So let's go ahead and take a look at the major components that comes with the COE Starter Kit. The core component, which is the first one, at the core of the COE itself lies the COE core component. It provides invaluable insight into a Power Platform adoption. So this component, kickstarts your COE journey by utilizing Power Automate workflow engine behind the scenes to sync all the resources, all the assets that you have, all the Power Apps, Power Automate, and anything else that you have created. It registers them, all of that in its internal database so that dashboards and reports can be run. And this comes with the admin component. The governance component is basically something that you need when you start thinking about audit and compliance in your organization. And so you might want to gather additional information about your apps from your makers, or audit specific, connectors, or even app usage. So this component basically, it goes after compliances in your organization. It can send out emails if your apps or chatbots are not meeting certain thresholds or compliances, like there's no business justification for the app. So there's a place in here where you can go ahead and specify business justification for every single app. So if it sees compliances like those, or if those business justification does not really meet the need, then that's when it kickstarts and sends out emails and notifies the admin. Also, if you want to check whether apps, flows, chatbots, or even custom connectors you own are compliant or not, So how do you do this? And this is where the governance component comes in. Let's talk about the nurture component. So the nurture component is basically required for growth and talent within your organization. This component focuses on nurturing individuals, teams, and their capabilities to create in-house team of citizen developers. You will want to share best practices and templates, and even onboard new makers, and this is where it's going to be crucial. The theming component, another one of my favorite ones. It lets you create, manage, and share global themes for apps. And themes contain, if you're not used themes, then it contains styles that define design properties for components and controls like colors, fonts, and borders. So when makers use the theme template app to create a new app, these styles are automatically applied to the components and controls. Wouldn't that be cool? This is what you call enterprise development, So this is where it brings in consistent look and feel across all the different apps in your organization. Very useful. I believe it's a very useful component. The innovation backlog component, it empowers organizations to create, evaluate, and prioritize innovation ideas. Like it provides apps that are used to share and vote on ideas. Describe pain points and apps that needs to be created and developed. And apps to measure the ROI itself. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Aziz to really go ahead and show you some real-world demos Let's go ahead and see how installation is done. Let's see the COE starter kit in action.
Thank you very much, Samir. So we are going to start off with the what you call it, the core component. The core component, it actually does everything to start off your COE starter kit. What it does is that it has all of the applications, it has all of the apps that are relevant to the admins and the makers. It also has an app, a setup wizard that you can use to set up your COE. It uses apps and flows and dashboards to show whatever inventory you have. And to do that, you have behind the scenes flows that are in sync, that are run during different time intervals, or they are run instantly, depending on the scenario. So it gathers all of the elements within your tenant and it stores that into the tables that are part of the COE. And then from that particular tables, an inventory is created, which is then shown on different apps that the admins and the makers can use to interact. Sort of a one spot shop solution for all of your administrative needs and desires. So having said that, please allow me to show you some of the apps that the admins and the makers will definitely use while using the COE. The very first app that we're going to see is the COE Admin Command Center. This is the COE Admin Command Center that the admins are going to use to actually administer their COE environment. What they have here is that they have bookmarks of different apps, and these are the bookmarks that are the COE applications are at their fingertips. You got all the solution areas, so you can home in on different areas that you're interested in, less like nurture, inventory, compliance, and environmental requests. But this is a one-stop solution, or a one-stop place where admins can go in and launch their apps that they are interested in. Apart from that, since this is a COE admin command center, this is relating to the COE administration itself. You have from here, you can go to a page called environment variables, which are very essential variables which are needed by the COE to perform the job properly. So it has all of these values in there where you can go in and actually change those values as well as one needs to. The COE definitely sends a lots of emails via notifications to different parties that are interested, and the emails, they come out of the box that are just vanilla. The the administrators can actually go and customize these emails according to whatever verbiage their organization is using. We have the COE flows right here. What it does is that it gives you a list of all the COE flows that are running behind the scenes or that have run behind the scenes, and it provides you statuses for those. This is going to take a little while to load, so excuse me. Let's go to the next one. We'll go to the sync flow errors. These are the errors that have been found for the flows that have stopped functioning for some reason, and the administrator can delegate these tasks to their makers for further review. So this is your COE admin command center. The other app that we are going to show you is the Power Platform admin view. This is the app that the admins are going to be spending most of their time for doing all sorts of administrative tasks on apps, flows, chatbots, environments, solutions, and all the other entities they have at their disposal. Here we are looking at the Power Apps list of all the Power Apps, and with the environments relating to that, we can click on one of these apps right here, and we have everything at our fingertips. Or we can look at the details for that. Is the app orphaned or not? Who is the owner? App state. We got app changes, when it was deleted, what was done to it, when it happened to it. We got SharePoint form URLs right here, and this is just the overview as well. The top navigation, you can go into much more detail in your governance, in your app details. You can go for connections that the app is using, usage, shared with, got app, feedback, rate of return, and settings. So this is your main bread and butter as far as COE administration is concerned, that you will be spending a lot of time on. Similarly with the flows as well, just as with the apps, but it's just pertaining to the flows. We have environments here that the admins can administer environment settings. We got different connectors, we got bots, we got desktop flows, we got Power Pages sites, and we got solutions as well. Here you can look at the environmental capacity. It is very imperative for admins to keep an eye on their environment's capacity and make decisions accordingly. Here we have the environmental requests. So whenever makers, they want to create an environment, and old days you used to send it by emails and it used to be buried in a lot of paperwork. But right now what they have is that makers can use an app that they are for them to be dedicated, that they can request environment requests, and here the admins can take a look at those. Let's go to the DLP DLP policies. So this much is for the core component that we are in. We have the DLP policy analysis. Here the admins can go and take a look at their DLP policies that they have. They can highlight the DLP policies and they can basically edit those DLP policies that they are interested in doing. This will show you the connectors for that particular DLP policy that they have. Then the next one is scope. Scope is going to show you the scope of your DLP policy. And then you definitely have the environments that you would like to have that have that DLP policy attached to. The next one is we have this set of permissions in here. Here the admins can go and select an environment that they are interested in. And as soon as they select that environment, all the pertaining apps, they get visible. All the pertaining apps for that environments that get visible, they can select that particular app that they are interested in, and then they can add the permissions or they can alter the permissions however they want to get it done. So this is a one-stop solution where they have a finger on all the apps, and they can administer the permissions aspect of it. They can also take a look at all the orphaned apps. So a maker comes in, they create an app, everybody's happy about it, and then the maker leaves the organization or is promoted to a COE, let's say, or CEO, let's say. So the app has no owners anymore. So that's called an orphaned app. So here you can go in and you can administer permissions and put in or you can quarantine or do whatever you want to do with it with an orphaned app. That is a big no-no in the Microsoft governance field. Similarly with the flows as well. One was for the app. This one is for the flows. We have the governance components here. And the governance component, like Samir has mentioned, is for auditing processes, cleaning up all objects, orphaned objects, and quarantining your the apps and making sure that all of it is in compliance. And allow me to show you some of the applications that are used by the makers as well as the admins to perform their governance tasks. Here you see right now it is a developer compliance center. As the name suggests, it says developer. So this is definitely for the makers to perform their tasks. Right here we see missing details. This is where the admins have flagged that these are the apps that are missing details, and obviously an email is sent to the maker. And the maker can come here to the developer compliance center and the missing details, and they can go ahead and perform the necessary tasks necessary to be in compliant. We got flagged as inactive, so the makers can go and take a look at their apps that are inactive, and they can make appropriate decisions what to do about them. Then there are apps that are non-compliant. There are apps that have to be republished, have been needed. So this is where all of the needs that the admins have performed are reflected to the appropriate makers who are the owners of their apps or flows or the custom connectors as well. This is similarly with the flows, that they can look at the flows, but they have an issue with. These are the environments. They can look at the environments that they have created, and if an environment is going out of scope, I mean, if it is going out of the capacity, and they are the owners of the environment, they can perform the tasks that are needed. So we have right here is the Power. This is the Power Platform admin view. that we just saw during our core components. So this are two are related in the sense is that this is how the admins and the makers, they communicate with each other and perform different administrative tasks. The admins assigns those tasks to the makers, and we see them right here in the developer compliance center. And the admin can come back into the Power Platform admin view and can perform the different tasks that the makers have taken care of. Here, what we are saying is that for that particular Power App, what I need to do is that I need to look the validate maker business requirements. I can look at what it has been done, what did the maker do, how was it being compliant. I can look at the risk, assess risk for that particular change, and I can highlight and I can move that into the app catalog for everybody else to use. For this is similarly for the flows as well. We do the same thing, and for the all the rest of them. The next component that we are going to look up is actually the nurture component. The nurture component is very useful to making sure that all of your makers have the appropriate training, they have the appropriate necessary tools that they can perform their jobs properly. It is a very tool to make your organization of makers feel comfortable, the new ones, on how to go about, because it can be quite a daunting task to start from zero. And you have and your nurture component also takes best ideas from your top app makers, and they can collect together. The apps that mostly are used are the nurture app for the maker. The nurture app for the maker is the app where the maker can go in and provide a Power Platform solution assessment. These are a set of names that the maker is going to provide. So for example, the solution name, it's going to be whatever the solution name the maker asks, the target audience, some solution description. When we go to next, we see that we got what kind of case it is, and this is all what the admins have complete control on. And I will show you the app that the admins are going to use to administer this as well. So right here, they can give justifications for the solutions that they are making to make the process more streamlined. For the nurture apps, they have upcoming events. Upcoming events is basically a training events that admins can schedule training events, and they have levels of difficulty from beginner to intermediate to advanced to expert. So it depending on the maker that is just trying to get its feet wet, they can appropriately go to these links and have a broader view of how things are done. This is the nurture apps admin view. Here are all the questions that are provided by COE out of the box. For example, do you require field level security that are pertaining to the solution that the maker is trying to make, so that we can have an idea of why and how this app is going to be used. These are definitely not etched in stone. They can be changed according to the organization's needs. The next app we are going to look into, this is the theming app. Theming app, as the name suggests, is just concerned about theming, so that you can have a seamless integration of your themes and your way of look of all of your apps, so that every application that you are going to use in your organization is going to be part of your organization, and it's going to be a nice and smooth flow. There are not going to be any hiccups, no surprises. As we know, we are visual creatures, so we like things to be consistent and across the board. The apps that are used for this are the nurture are the I'm sorry the apps that are going to be used for this are the COE theme editor. Please allow me to share you that app. That is actually used for creating different themes. Like you mentioned here, you can create a new theme. Once a theme has been created, once the look of the field has been created, it is then put into the into the theme galleries, where the makers can go and pick up those themes, and all they need to worry about is just the functionality of their app, and not actually waste time on making sure that the theme is according to the organization. The next one we have is the innovation backlog. The whole purpose of the innovation backlog is to know where the organization is heading. Since you are an organization, you are not going to be static. The organization is always going to be growing with the needs, and as soon as the organization starts to grow, the needs of the users also grows with it. So it is really important to have an idea of what the users want, what are the pain points for the users, what are the old habits that the users have picked and would like to have that taken care of. So for that, we definitely have an app. There is an app for that that the COE provides, and it is called an innovation. It's called an innovation backlog. This is the app where the ideas come into fruition. For example, Miss Windy wanted to, consume a manual work that does not support mobile work or something like that. There are people across the board are going to vote on it. Yeah, I have the same issue with that, and or things like that, or something similar to that. So what the makers can come in and they can congregate all of these ideas, and they can come up with an idea for an app that is going to address all of these issues. And of course, they're going to provide every detail for that particular solution to come into fruition, like what tools are they going to use, what is the complexity of that. And every user is welcome to go ahead and vote on this app, and the administrators can go and give the go ahead, and the makers can pick up the idea and create an app for them. So now the app is ready for all of the organizations, and if everybody is happy, it can be put into an app catalog for everyone to use. This is the innovation backlog. That is the whole gist of that. So like I mentioned, that we had an inventory, and I have shown you all the apps that we are going to be using, the makers for the admins as well. But we have an extra caveat, is that we are using Power BI dashboards to get a complete bird's eye overview of your tenant. As you can see, a picture speaks 1,000 words. This is something that is going to be the candy for the admins when they are administering their tenant. Here we have the COE Starter Kit dashboard, as it is called. It is divided into three sections. One is the monitor, one is the governance, and one is the nurture. In the monitor, we have just an overview of all the entities that you have in your tenant. In the governance, we can deep dive into those particular entities. The nurture is just for the nurturing of your tenant. So let's take a look at one of the Power Apps overviews. This is what it is. It's very pleasing to the eyes. It is quick to the eyes. It is very informative. We can grab all of the information. You have cards here, data cards on the top that tell that show you the total number of apps, the model-driven apps, and the rest. On the left side, you have top 20 environments by app counts. You have top 20 app makers that you have. And on the right, you have this beautiful map that shows where exactly those makers are creating those apps. Similarly with the flows as well. So you have one for the apps, you have one for the flows as well. These are the environments. How many environments you have is the apps and flows per environment, environment by creator, environment by environment type. So you have all of this information, and all of this information can be filtered by the filters panel on the right, as you see. You have Power Apps as well, which can gives you an overview of all the Power Apps again. That tells you what are the connectors that are being used, what are the apps per environment. You got app creation trends. There are some seasons where apps are needed, and makers work vigorously on that. So you can have an idea that what those seasons are and why that is, and you can make appropriate decisions according to that. Here you have automate flows, but similarly with the apps, you get automate flows. You got custom connectors, a very important tool to know that what connectors are you using. I mean, it's definitely if you're using a premium connectors, you are paying for it. So it gives you an idea of the where my money is going. How can I make sure that I use these connectors efficiently? You got environmental capacities. This is a visual view of which are the environments and what are the capacities. And on the cards, you can see database consumption in GBs. Power apps, this is like I mentioned, you can drill deep into the power apps as well from here. So there we go. On the left side, we have the total number of apps, and you see this plus icon right here. You can click on the plus icon, and then a tree view will open up, and I'll show you right here for the similarly for the flows, but for the apps it is quite similar as well. When you click on the plus icon, then you can choose from whatever you want to filter, and then for example it is with the connector tier. From here you can keep going on filtering on whatever you need. It tells you the number of apps and everything else it is. On your flow details, this is the flow details. If you go into app details, we can right click on any one of these app names and you have an option to drill through. You can drill through, you can manage app accesses, you can review app archive storage. You have a bunch of stuff that you can do from here. So you can definitely perform some administrative tasks from your dashboards as well. But there might be scenarios where you might want to deep dive and do some extra administrative works, and that's where the apps come in handy. This is your makers. You want to make sure that your makers are happy. You want to make sure that your new makers are taken care of, so you can have a seamless development environment. You can have what cities are being used most by your makers. Who are your top makers, or who are your star makers, and who are the makers that did try something but they need some help, or and you got your top 10 departments as well. You got power apps. Some more information on the power apps. This is the app launch trend that you can see. This is the power platform year over year adoption, how your entities are being used over the years. You got desktop flows as well. You can have a lot more information on your desktop flows. Now we will head over to Samir for the platform maturity model. Thank you, Samir.
Thank you, sir. And that was a pretty in-depth overview of the COE starter kit. And let me go ahead and share my screen here. And so as you can see, this is a pretty, it's a pretty strong tool which Microsoft provides, and there's a lot that can be achieved with it. And I think that having the right knowledge, for working on it, and I'm not even talking about installation, just running those reports and understanding those reports, it actually adds a lot of value. So, so the Power Platform, maturity model. This is something that I wanted to make sure that I spend, at the least like a minute just talking about it, because this is basically the higher picture of where you're trying to head with the Center of Installation Starter Kit. And once you get over here, you're gonna see a couple things that you would wanna. So as you can see, there are different levels over here. So at a certain point in time, so what we do is when dealing with the clients, we try to categorize them in one of these different levels. And this is a framework or like a roadmap from Microsoft that helps organizations assess and improve how they use Microsoft Power Platform, especially as they grow and evolve. And that's one of the most important things. And that's what makes it pretty important. And so let's go ahead and analyze these levels over here. So level 100. So you probably might have, started with Power Apps or Power Automate and started creating, small little applications with it. And you might definitely have had some success, or you might even have created some applications that, hey, quite a few, departments in the organization are using now. And so you are beginning to experiment with it, but there's no company-wide recognition for the Power Platform itself. And then plus, there's no overall strategy or governance approach as well, and apps are largely in like a single default environment, you know, and there's no DLP policies that have been put in place. And apps are mostly used by a single team and supported by the makers. So it's you just pretty much just getting started, and that's where we place organizations in level 100. But let's just say that now you have more experienced developers, you have more experienced processes, and there's some amount of repeated processes and best practices which are being used, which I think is one of the most important things. And also, and this is where you have downloaded and installed the Center of Excellence Starter Kit and beginning to use it as well. And environments are used as needed, but still in ad hoc manner. And these organizations at times begin to think that the Power Platform is running out of control because of the amount of things that they have to do manually, or because of the amount of requests that they're getting, and there's no proper governance and things like those. And that's where, and it's a positive sign, don't get me wrong, but that's where we would like to place organizations in level 200, which is the repeatable. Now let's go ahead and talk about level 300, which is defined. And in this phase, by the time the organizations come to this level, they have very well defined and documented, processes. There might be, especially like standard business processes, and there would be automated and documented processes for environments, for DLP requests, DLP policies, and also the solutions which have been developed. These Power Apps and Power RMS solutions are now like in the managed environment, and they are being moved from one environment to the other using automated processes, using ALM and CI/CDs and stuff like that, which is definitely a very serious step in having an enterprise Power App environment. And I see that a lot of organizations are between level 200 and level 300. Level 400 is where standard processes for managing and monitoring Microsoft Power Platform are mostly automated, and they are enterprise critical apps and integrations which have been developed using Power Platform. So the organization at this point in time really cannot live without Power Platform, because all the critical apps and all the development is basically done over here. There's company-wide adoption. There is 100% success achieved from all different departments, and best practices are being shared also, and training of new makers and conducting regular hackathons are happening as well. This is another one of the most important things. Microsoft wants you to go ahead and reach out to local developers and identify them and start using them and start developing them, nurturing them. And this is where like the nurture component that Aziz has mentioned is actually being used and abused, and new makers are being developed over here. And the final stage is the efficient stage. This is where there's 100% adoption, there's 100%, processes are being automated, and communities established now. And finally, new technologies like AI is being explored and being implemented in the Power Platform environment. Okay, Aziz, all yours.
Yeah, thank you very much for the brief intro to a Power Platform adoption maturity model. Once we have the, let's say, the COE up and running and our tenant, there might be a need for some enhancements that we need to do. The reason for these enhancements might be that you are trying to capture some extra metadata that is not being caught by your vanilla COE that's being installed. You might want to have the apps and the emails that are coming out of the box from the COE that you have installed. They are just vanilla, but you like to theme them to your organization. So that's what that is. You might want to extend the apps or extend the flows to look at a few other areas that the COE is missing. So it is basically the apps flow based on inventory gathering of the COE starter kit. There are a few things that cannot be enhanced, which are definitely there are definitely a few things that cannot be enhanced. For example, your tables and model driven apps, they can be enhanced, but to have them enhanced, what you need to do is that because what happens is that the CEO that Microsoft sends in updates, and once you have those updates taken care of, you got to make sure that the changes that you have made within your COE, they are not affected. So tables and model driven apps, they do support merging. So when you do an update, those updates will be merged within your changes that you have made. However, Canvas apps and custom pages and cloud flows are the ones that do not support merging. So if you need to make changes for those, you're going to create a copy of those. You're going to make your changes. When you do an update, the update is going to be on the original apps, pages and flows, not the ones that you made copies of. So this keeps a level of abstraction, and you can then definitely add the changes to the updates that are there. Cloud flows that are used for inventories are highly recommended not to be touched, because the updates constantly bugs, and makes them more efficient, and enable them to gather more additional data as the Power Platform grows. Power BI dashboards, these can be customized. It is definitely recommended to create another copy of the report, make those changes there, and then publish them into the same workspace as the main COE dashboard, so that they can have a seamless experience between the two. The next scenario is going to be the installation. Once we have taken care of, let's see, we do understand what we need, and we definitely want to take care of that. What do we do? So, well, the first thing is that you need to create a service account, an Azure Active Directory service account. It should have one of these three identity admin roles. It should absolutely have identity licenses required as well. It should have, let's see, the Power Apps 365 license, which is a no-brainer. You got to have that, and you got to have apps per user license, and all of these have to be non-trial. You got to have the Power Automate. You got to have the Power BI Pro license. You should have the service account should be 365 mailbox. It should have its own mailbox. It should be REST API enabled, and it should be able to perform app registrations in the Azure of your tenant. The next step is going to be creating an environment. Of course, that's where you are going to be installing your COE. The requirements for creating an environment is that it is recommended that you create two environments, one for your testing purposes and one is for your production. So once you have installed on your testing, and you have done a rigorous testing of it, you have done all the enhancements, you can just simply move that into your production seamlessly. To creating an environment, the things that are necessary is that the type should be production, and you should have add a Dataverse data store enabled as yes. You got to have data tables there. And the security group, it should be none, and please do not deploy sample apps and data. So it should be the bare minimum as it comes. The security group has to be none. That's very important. Once you are in the once you are in your environment, you will have to create these connections. And the way to create these connections is to actually go to your tenant, or to your environment where you are going to create or where you're going to create the COE. This is the environment, for example, we have. These are the connections right here. This is Power Automate. We go on to connections and new connections, and then we create all of these connections that are required for that. After we have done with that, the next step is to actually go into this site right here. It says you download this Creator Kit solution. You're going to absolutely download that onto your local machine. Then you are going to also download the COE Starter Kit download. That is also going to be in the same folder as you have downloaded into the previous one. And it is going to look something like this. I'm going to just show it to you how that is going to look like so you can have an idea. So here it is. Here you have the COE installation files. You got the COE starter kit. This is the 4.23 is the version number. This is the creator kit core. This is very important. This has to be imported first. The second thing is you are going to unzip all of these. You are going to unzip the COE starter kit. And what you're going to get is the rest of the solutions right here. These are all zip files. Like you can see, it says here core components. It says here excellent nurture components, and you can import all the rest of the components as you please. But definitely the core component is the main component, and that has to be imported. Once you are done, the core component itself has a COE setup and upgrade wizard, and allow me to show you what that app looks like. This is the app where you are going to go and run your COE installation, or actually not an installation, it has been installed, but actually setting up your COE right from the beginning. So once you go in there, what it does is that it looks at all the confirms your prerequisites that are there and which are have to be manually verified. It asks you to manually verify that. It is a very seamless, painless process. At the beginning, it is, but there are definitely scenarios where some of the flows, they are not running, or they have an issue running that. Most of the time with the new releases, that's what happens. And of course, then we'll have to put in tickets in GitHub and follow up on that and make sure that the flows are running, because these are important for the inventory. So it seems very simple, as just a matter of clicking and and following the instructions, but there are a lot of snags that can come in the way, and that's why we specialize in making sure that your COE installation is spot on. So this is, and there are updates. We make sure that we are always on, as an AQL, we are always up to date on our updates to make sure that we know exactly what the updates are going to impact. As we can see, we are an organization and we help many organizations setting up their COEs and upgrading them. We have to keep in touch with the upgrades and what are necessary and what's going on and how it is going to impact each and every organization. So this is the updates that are going to happen. It's not going to happen in a regular basis, but every 3 months it is recommended that Microsoft recommends that we do an upgrade. Every monthly they do make Microsoft makes releases for the COE, but every 3 months it is recommended that we make an upgrade. Thank you very much.
So yeah, that's so the challenge that we see every single time that we are working with clients when installing the COE toolkit is they try doing it half-assed. Everybody tries their best, but the thing is that just getting it done and then getting the ROI out of it is the biggest challenge. And once you do that, let's not forget that Microsoft keeps deploying these new changes in line with what Aziz was saying. So they pretty much have like a new version available every single month, the first week of the month, and choosing the right one and looking into the features which are coming out, and then upgrading that is also a very big challenge. It's pretty time intensive. So that's where we come in. The service that we provide basically is we act like we come in and then take care of this critical background task while you're attending to a client.
Great, thanks, Samir. Appreciate that. Our next question is, how often should Microsoft Power Platform Center of Excellence kit be updated?
Oh yeah, so I think that just being cautious of the time over here that we have on hand, I think that quarterly. That's what we recommend, unless there's a certain feature that you have been waiting for and it's been released. If not, try doing it quarterly.
Great, thanks, Samir. So it looks like we're about ready to wrap up here. I want to thank everybody for attending our webinar. If you're looking to take the first steps towards establishing your Center of Excellence for your Power Platform by leveraging our installation service for the COE Starter Kit, contact us, schedule a consultation. Any questions or anything like that, please feel free to reach out. Samir is going to put out my contact information here in a minute. There's my email, my phone. As I said, please feel free to reach out. And thank you everyone so much for attending. Aziz, thank you. Samir,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Lots
Thank
of
you,
good
Mike.
information. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Have a
Bye-bye.
great day. Bye.